Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Today I'm sharing some cards I made using Paper Rose's Mini Adventure 6x6 paper collection. This collection has a great variety of colors. It's perfect for masculine or feminine cards, and it could work for most card themes. For my cards, I decided to use the same sketch for all of the cards. This is the August 2021 sheetload of cards by Call Me Crafty Al. For information on where to find this sketch, you can head over to my coordinating blog post. That link is in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I selected 3 different pattern papers that all coordinate perfectly together. I'm layering all of the pieces on this rust orange colored cardstock. And my cardstock layers are an additional 1/8 of an inch to the measurements of the pattern paper. On the sketch, it has them at an additional 1/4 of an inch, but I prefer the thinner border. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and put my card front onto a card base. And for this card, I will have that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. Before adhering this blue and white polka dot panel down, I will add some scrap pieces of cardstock just on the upper and lower portion where it goes off of that floral paper. That way it'll be nice and level on the card. And I'll adhere it in place using some liquid adhesive. I cut out a stitched oval die cut. The paper is from the Watercolour Whimsy A5 paper collection. Has this great assortment of rainbow colors, and the peach color matched perfectly with this card. So I'll just adhere that in place using some liquid adhesive. For the image on the card, I'm using a couple of die sets from Paper Rose. I have little vases and also the little foliage. The 2 sets really coordinate together. I used that same orange rust cardstock for the vase. I love the little stitched lines it has on the front. And I used some specialty cardstock for all of the stems. I have some blue satin cardstock and then some rust colored mirror cardstock. I put some adhesive on the back of the vase, then I'll just arrange all of those stems in place, trying to alternate the colors. I have one final stem. Now with all of those stems adhered to the back, it does add a little extra dimension, so I'm putting a small piece of cardstock on the lower portion. Need one more small piece next to that branch. I'll put more liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the center of that oval. Then I'll add a little more liquid adhesive to any of the branches that are pulling up. Trying to get that vase nice and straight. Just one more drop of adhesive on this stem. Then I'm putting an acrylic block on top just for some added weight to let that glue dry. For the sentiment, I have You're the Best, and this is one of the cut-aparts from the All Occasions Sentiment Sheet set. I have a huge variety of occasion sentiments, and I like that they're in white with black print and also black with the white print. I decided to pop it up using some thin foam squares. But where it goes over the vase, I'm just adding a couple layers of scrap cardstock. Then to finish off the card, I'll add a few of the crystals from Paper Rose's Shaker Mix. This is their clear crystal mix. It's one of my favorites. There's at least 4 different sizes of the crystals. One of them super tiny. I'll put 2 of them to the right of the little vase, 1 to the left, and then 2 in the upper left-hand corner. I'm using an embellishment wand to pick those up since they don't have adhesive on the back. Just adding a drop of my Barely Art liquid glue and then adhering them in place. And that glue will dry clear. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this style and the same paper and dies. I love how this card turned out. The little vases and the little foliage are so fun. For card design number 2, I am using the same sketch, so I decided to go ahead and assemble all of that background portion, and I'll just show the image and also the sentiment. For the oval, this time I used the Watercolor Basic 6x6 paper pack. This blue matched perfectly with the colors on this card. And for the image, I'll be using the Little Fox Reindeer die set. And I do have the giraffe as well, but for this card, I'll be assembling the fox. What's so fun about this die set, you can also add the antlers and create a reindeer instead of the fox. So it's really a 2-in-1 die set. I cut out all of the pieces using some solid cardstock. For the lower portion where the eyes and the nose will go, I put some double-sided tape on the back and inlaid the eyes and nose. Then I'll put a little bit of liquid adhesive in the areas I don't have the tape and adhere it to this oval. Then I can start adding all the other pieces to assemble my little fox. So I have the top portion of the head. Then I'll do the outline of the ear on the right. And then I'll add the outline to the ear on the left, trying to make sure to get them even. And then the final pieces are the inside of the ears. Now you could ink these up to add a little more dimension, or you could keep them solid. Maybe even use some pattern paper if you have the right colors. I think that would be fun as well. And there is my little fox all assembled. For the sentiment, I have just a card to say you're awesome. And this is from Paper Rose's Really Rainbow Sentiment Sheets. The yellow matched beautifully with the background paper. I'll cut a fishtail on both sides and then adhere it underneath the little fox's head. Now in the areas where that sentiment goes off of the oval, I will add those scrap pieces of pattern paper. Not using cardstock since the pattern paper is the perfect thickness. And then I'll just adhere it using some liquid adhesive. Then to finish off the card, I'll bring in those clear crystals again. I'll put 2 to the right of the fox, 1 to the left above the sentiment, and 2 in the upper left-hand corner. And there is my finished card. This little fox is so adorable. Paper Rose does have other animals in the same style. I'm not sure if any of the others you could use for 2 different animals, but they're still really cute and simple to use. For my final card design, using that same sketch, I've already assembled that background. So I'm switching over to some green and dark blue colors. For the oval, I use some more of the Watercolour Whimsy collection. For the image on this card, I'll be featuring one of the feathers from the Feather Trio die set. There's 3 different dies that are included. And I cut this out using some beautiful iridescent cardstock from Tonic Studios. This is the water Sprite color. It has a light green, and then just depending on the way the light hits it, it has a rainbow look to it. I'll adhere it to the center of that oval using some liquid adhesive. And I did put my acrylic block on top just for that extra weight while the glue adhered. The sentiment, I'm using another all occasion sentiment sheet. This time, thank you so much. I've already cut the fishtail on both ends, and then I'll be adhering it on top of the feather. So I'm adding different pieces of cardstock and pattern paper, just trying to build it up so it's at the same level when it's going over that feather. You don't have to do this part. I have a little crafty OCD, so I really like all of my pieces to be nice and level. When I don't add all those extra layers, I notice that dip or dent on the front of the card, and I really don't like the look of it. So I'll adhere it in place using some liquid adhesive. So you can see when I'm angling the card, all that gorgeous sparkle from that iridescent cardstock. Then final finishing touch using those clear crystals again. They just work well with all of the paper collections since they're clear. I'll put 2 to the right of the feather, 1 underneath the sentiment on the left, and 2 in the upper left-hand corner. And there is my finished card. Again, I did make 2. I love that iridescent cardstock. It's so pretty. With all of the different sentiment sheet sets that Paper Rose sells, I didn't have to do any stamping at all. They also have a really great assortment of dies. Lots of detail. Now here's just another look at the 6 cards I made using Paper Rose's Mini Adventure 6x6 paper collection. I did use the same sketch for all of the cards, but I changed them up by adding different sentiments and images. I do have links provided in the description box if you are interested in this paper collection or any of the products I showed in this video. Paper Rose is located in Australia. They do ship internationally, but you can also purchase their products in the US. And I do have links to both places in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.